Chip's House is a community-based residence for people who are head injured and who are not capable of self-preservation. Many of them find themselves unable to live in their own homes because they require so much care, but very much wanting a home of their own. And so Chip's House is that. It's their home. It's a home of their own. Even the people that work here, they're not here just to do a job. They're here to do a job that the residents need to have done. And we always try to explain to them that the people who live here are really the employers, and they need the respect and the dignity that one should give to their employer. So, anyway, when we first got to know each other, the people who were the incorporators, it was in a nursing home, and it was in a nursing home called the Greenery, which is at the end of South Street, right across from the Cape Cod Hospital. And my wife and I, we had a foster son whose name was Stephen, and who found himself in that facility. Stephen was a pretty active young teenager with a car, driver's license, and one night we got a call and found out that he was in the hospital in serious condition. And also we found out that his friend had been killed in the accident. And they made it clear to us right at the very beginning that Stephen had a long road to go and he might not ever be the same again. And of course that's contrary to how we feel about people, and we just accepted their information. Time came, and when it became pretty obvious, it was sort of like after 7 years in the nursing home. And 7 years of having met family members of people who had sons and daughters in the same condition. And we used to have family meetings every now and then, and we just decided that we didn't want our loved ones to spend the rest of their lives in a nursing facility among the frail elderly and the terminally ill. So we decided to see what we could do about it. And of course we were aware of many halfway houses in the area, and we asked Tom Lynch, who is now our town manager, but at that time he was the director of the Barnstable Housing Authority, if he would take us around and show us the halfway houses. Well, we went to look at a lot of halfway houses, and we were all pretty discouraged. They were pretty nice, but they all reminded us of the nurses' station at the nursing home. We wanted something more home-like. So as a last resort, Tom Lynch said, let's go down to Park Avenue in Centerville, and there's a house there that's been abandoned for the last 14 years, and it's owned by the Commonwealth, and we might be able to get it for a very reasonable price. So we all came down. It's the house next door. It had been locked up. We got in, and it had been abused in the 14 years that it was closed. There were dead animals. There was everything that you would think of. And but every one of our group, they all said the same thing. This is home. And there were fireplaces, the rooms, and so on and so forth. It was also on the National Register of Historic Places. It's a historic home. Captain Freeman Crosby, I believe, was the original owner of that home. So anyway, we found out what we had to do to get it, and we had to pay $1. And then we had to raise about $500,000 to renovate it. And so we got control of it, and we were able to make an arrangement with a builder, all local people, and who really were friends of us, and they proceeded to do the job. And I think that it cost about 500. No, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I can't tell you how much it cost. It cost a lot of money, but not as much as this one here. The one we're in was much more expensive. But anyway, on the 29th of December in 1998, Roy and a few other people came with the residents. We had, I think, 4 people in the beginning. Moved in there. We had beds. We had furnished it. It's all accessible and that sort of thing. And the model that we had is we needed to have enough people here to care for for the residents. And we decided that if you had 10 residents, you needed 3, what people could refer to as CNAs, to take care of their needs. We picked 3 because we were accustomed in the nursing home to have, there were 1 in 18 or 1 in 20 and waiting around for services, and we wanted to have, service when needed and quickly. And so anyway, we moved in. I can remember my feeling, all the families were here. Eventually all the families went home, and I was here with 2 people that we had a little orientation with, and all of a sudden I realized, wow, what have I got myself into? This is, it's a big responsibility. But we have and the board, it's a very interesting thing about the board. The board of directors has to be at least 51% family members. And we had it that way so people would not be tempted to turn this into another facility. This is not a facility. This is a home. And and we want people to feel like they're at home. And we've tried to do that. I think what I was going to talk about, now that we have these people here, just exactly what we're going to do. And we realized that life is not just having, personal care, taking care of all those things that we all have to take care of, but it's also having meaningful life also. And so we did hire a person to be in charge of activities. So there was always something going on. We tried to have events that would bring people in. We also encouraged families to come and visit. We would go to the movies. We'd take them out to eat. We have pretty full activity program. And a little later I can show you some of the things that we do here. We have news review every morning. We have a person who comes here who's a retired teacher and reads the newspaper to everybody here, not all at one time, little groups here and little groups there. And it's a very, very popular group. And if this person happens to be absent, everybody asks, and we're, to make sure things are going to be fine and all that sort of thing. The other thing that we have, and I think it's a thing that's really sort of given our program some sort of standing that a lot of other programs might not have, and we decided to have an art program. And that took place. A friend of ours invited us to an art show down at a local, location where art shows are held, and we were just very taken with the art and the process and all that sort of thing. And just driving around after that, I was thinking, and it was a conversation I had with myself. I said, why can't our guys and girls do this too? Why should they be deprived of the opportunity of being creative just because they have a head injury? So anyway, the artist who is Thomas Nigro, and I chatted with him about that, and we talked about the possibilities, and we asked him if he wouldn't be interested in setting up some sort of art program here. And the thing is that he had a bunch of people that had not done anything artistic or creative, for many years, and many of them had, very deformed in their fingers and arms and all that sort of thing. But Tom had the gift to be able to find that little place in your grip where you could put the paintbrush. And they started painting, and he's a great teacher. And I'm not sure what his process is, but whatever he does, it works very well. One day we were looking for something to do, and we thought we might have an art show on the front lawn. This is early on. And we put all the pictures up, and people were stopping, and they were asking, and then people wanted to buy. And so we've had several art shows since then. We also, right now, we have a long corridor in Chip's House too. And in that corridor, we're going to name it the Gallery. And we just finished having the walls prepared, so we're going to frame pictures and begin to put them up so that it has more meaning than just a hallway. And it's going to be quite nice, I think. But anyway, I refer to Chip's House too. Chip's House 1 opened first, and we had 9 people in that house. And after a while, people began knocking on our doors looking for places for people that they cared about and loved. And people kept saying, we're going to get another place. And that was the farthest thing from my mind, or our mind, because it's quite a job. But anyway, this house was originally built as the Methodist Chapel, the one you're in now, Chip's House 2. And then it became, I think, the Lyceum, something or other. It was a Masonic kind of group. Then it was a bakery, and it was a pretty famous bakery, and there was a woman here who made very wonderful pies and that sort of thing. So anyway, but they went out of business. And then there was some talk in town about maybe this would be a cafe or something like that. And as we thought about it, we thought that really was not really compatible, neighbor for our kind of work. So we looked into the possibility of buying something. And we bought this. I think it was for $50,000. But we spent up to $1 million in having this thing. We had a lot of help. We had a lot of affordable housing money and so on and so forth. And we opened up this 10 more people. And one of the things that we did with downstairs, we were just going to have an unfinished room. It was not going to be finished, and I know the contractor came in one day and said, it's going to be unfinished, and we talked about what the difference was. I said, finish it, and after some difficulty we were able to pay for it. People were very generous and helpful to us. We also have, and the activity part is just the thing that really makes the difference, because it means you're not forgotten. It means you matter, and that's the kind of thing that we try to communicate. Besides that, one of the things they do is they play a lot of games, and one of the things that we even plan to do is we plan to have people have the opportunity to sit down and talk, and they love to talk. Even though they can't talk, they can participate in the communication. And people sometimes when they come here, they will say something about their loved one, they can't talk. And we always say, well, they might not be able to talk, but I bet you they can communicate. And we've learned how to communicate around here. And for those that have real difficulty talking, we talk heart to heart, and amazing things happen. Yeah, for example, we have one of our residents was born head injury, and so that's all he's ever known. He can't. He can make noise. He can't talk. He also can't keep his hands still. There are a lot of side effects that come from head injury, but he has a laptop, and that is a laptop. Yeah, he has a laptop. And he also can't hold his hand to use it because he can't stay still enough. But he has a crown that he puts on his head that has a stylus that comes out from the front, and he goes at his computer and he hits all those letters, and he sends messages even to me at home. He's telling me when staff needs to be spoken to, sort of thing, and I tell him, I says, we're going to put you on the payroll, and he gets a kick out of that. I told him I was joking, by the way. He thought it was going to be a great thing. We also do a lot of activities in the community. I mean, they go to the movies. You can just see here. Word games we have. They have lots of TV programs that they like. They like movies. Sometimes they like the documentary kind of things. They like the shows. They go bowling. We have a music group here. The music group happened just a woman coming by who wanted to get acquainted and stuff like that, and so she wanted to know if there's something. We found out she could play the piano when she wanted a job, and she needed a part-time job, so we gave her a job, and she comes twice a week, every Tuesday night, Tuesday at 5 o'clock, and Saturday at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock. And she plays, and they all gather down there, and they all sing away, and you know, it's a happy time, and they love it, as a matter of fact.
Great.
And we're making some exploration in terms of things like music, for example. We have a conversation going on with a person who has drums, and to see if we can't get some sort of activity with them. You know, it's very interesting how we started out and the way we managed to pay for it in the early days. People who are handicapped and are not able to care for themselves, there's a personal care attendant program. We signed up with Options, which is the name of a group that has personal care attendants, and everybody is evaluated to see how many hours of personal care they need in a week. And once the evaluation is done, it's signed off, and the nurse evaluator and also the physician has to sign off and say that these are what are necessary to keep this person going. And we took, and it's a shared thing. Everybody chipped in. Like in terms of the personal care attendant funds that we had, everybody had. We provided all the services that their plan required, but we just sort of, everybody required some of the same things, so we were able to hire certain people to do certain things, so there was continuity of service and an idea of you know, being, not an idea, that they were able to, you know, be together and be in this family. There could be the support. We also had some earmarked money from the state, and then the Brain Injury Association, or the Mass Rehab. They would be able to help us with funds for certain things. And as it developed, the state programs changed, and we became eligible for a program called Transitional Living, which has been a wonderful program. And I think the state should take great credit for providing that kind of program for us. It really, it provides the resources that we need to do what needs to be done for these people. And we also, the residents themselves also contribute. They contribute a certain portion of any income they might have, and also they're eligible for housing assistance, and they get that. So we take and pour all that money together, and we do pretty well. We are always raising money, and we take donations. Some come unexpectedly. We have a couple of activities. We have a golf tournament in July at the New Seabury Country Club, the Ocean Course, which is a very popular golf tournament. It's a lot of fun, not only for the players but the people who man it and that sort of thing. And the other thing is a Founders Day that we have in I forget the date, but anyway, we have it in the fall. And what we do is we have a wonderful dinner at usually a good restaurant, and we have it at the and I can't say the name of the restaurant now. It's the one with the bull in the front of it. Yeah. Okay, and that's really pretty wild time. And we have an orchestra that helps us here. We actually have them at our Christmas stroll open house. They're called the Moonlighters. And let me tell you, they're a wonderful group, and if people come, they go away tired because they've danced so much and stuff. But we do send out requests for funding. We do go after, money when we can. One of the greatest needs right now is we did have two, buses that were equipped to handle needy, physically challenged people, but they were old to start with, and we've had them for a long time, 20 years, and we have one that's on its last legs, and we have two others they're long gone. So we're in the process of looking for $70,000 to help cover the cost of a new bus and that sort of thing. The challenges. I mean, life is a challenge. for all of us. I mean, we have, it's rather than challenges, there's a lot of opportunity for us to do a lot of things. And the same thing with this group here. Their life is full of challenges. Just the fact that they're able to be up and around and out in this, out in the neighborhood and all that sort of thing. Yeah, currently we have 20 residents. And one interesting thing about this is that we have, even though we have room for 20 people, some people want to know if they have a single room and that we don't rent rooms here. We rent beds, and we have some beds that are in single rooms, or some beds that are in double rooms. It's all about what is available. And the number that we decided on is when we took a look at what the finances were that were involved. In order to keep a house, a home going like we have, we knew we needed at least 10 people to, make ends meet. And sometimes they run out of money. Nobody gets turned away after they've been here if they don't have any funds. We have some incidences where we've provided a remarkable amount of care before they were able to find a funding source. So. Families play a big role here, even though 51% of the board are family members. You just can't, it's not the expectation you can have your family loved one here and just forget them. We want people to be actively involved. One of the things we require of families that they are the ones, or the guardians, or they are the ones that are, overseeing their, medical side of things, the informed medical decisions that need to be made. We don't make those for people. It's all family directed or guardian directed. And a lot of families live far away. It's not always convenient for them to come with them to go to an appointment, but we do want families to go when and if they can. And if they can't go, we ask them to be in touch with the doctor by telephone and to make sure they get the information they need so we can be told what to do. So that's an interesting point. A lot of people think, they go downstairs and into the fitness center, and it's really a great big activity room, and they think we do PT. We don't do PT. We're not licensed to do PT. But everybody has an exercise program. It's more like going to the gym. What do our folks do? They stand, they get on the mats, and do little exercises. They call it range of motion, just so. The idea here is we want to make sure we do all those things that help the people who live here not to lose any function they have. If you don't use it, you lose it. And so we have a staff, we have 2 people that do nothing but the in-house exercise program. And everybody goes there every day. Chip's House the corporation was formed in 1996. And that's when everybody was still more or less at the greenery. And it opened in 1998. So it's only 2 years. And once we started, we went full force. And when it was ready, we moved in, even though it was the 29th of December. And it was a night. It was cold, too. But it was sort of joyous time. The message that we want to leave with people is best expressed through the advice that Steve Morley gave when we established our original website. And his advice is, and we join with him, slow down. When people ask us if we have a message that we'd like to leave with people, for me, I think it is best expressed in the words of Stephen Morley, one of our residents, who was injured in a very serious car crash. and who lost his best friend. And his message is, slow down. When people ask me the question, what makes Chip's House different? The difference is that a majority of the people who oversee the operation and activities of Chip's House are family members. Families maintain the oversight and control and support of those things that impact the lives of people that they love. When people come to Chip's House, they're not here just for a day, for a week, or for a month. It's a lifetime placement. And the needs of these people is motivation for the members of our board of directors and others to do all those things that are necessary to keep Chip's House alive and well. We do have vacancies here every now and then, and as soon as we have a vacancy, we're able to fill it. So as long as there is a need for individuals to live in a home where personal care services are available, there will always be a Chip's House.